It's a real pleasure to be here today, and I would love to share some insights on how we operate at Google. So by no means is this something that you can go home and do, but I'm hoping that it will leave something that will plant a seed somewhere in your heads to think differently about things that you do at work, about things that you do in your personal lives. Just remember some of the things, and I'll call them out for you. I would love by starting with some imagination. So imagine yourself, your role, imagine the team you work with, the leadership team, the people you work with. There must be something that sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're frustrated. You think about, oh, I wish I could change this. I wish I could do this differently. I wish that X, you fill in the blanks. Why don't we change it? What if we could reshape, reinvent what we do, how we work? And why don't we do it? Why do we get up every day? We go and we do the same job every day. We stay frustrated. Maybe we have occasional success stories and we're excited about those, but there's certain gaps in the way that we operate. What if we could go to these gaps and change them? And why don't we? Because we're afraid. We're afraid to fail. We have a fear of objectives that have been set for me, and if I don't meet them, I don't meet my objectives, what's going to happen? It's going to have an impact on my next promotion, on my career. It's going to impact who I am as a person. Will another company still hire me if I fail in this? I can't put this in my resume. It will be a call, a reference call. What's going to happen? I can't fail. Nope, can't fail. So what we do, if we fail, if it happens, we take a rug, we sweep it under the rug, nicely pat on top of it, stand on it, and we're like, nope, everything's shiny, everything's great. That's how we operate. That's how we're incentivized to operate. I would love to share with you the story on how we can fail smarter. Do any of you have an idea how penguins hunt? No show of hands? National Geographic fans? Any? No? Great. So penguins, they're a great example. Penguins, you would see if you've seen pictures, they're always in a large group, all cuddled up against each other. They waddle to the edge of the iceberg, stand next to each other, and then one jumps. This one jumps, and if this one penguin doesn't resurface, what do you think would happen? Do the others jump? Probably not. There's probably a seal somewhere just to snatch this penguin so they stay where it's safe. And if this penguin resurfaces, all of them jump and they go hunting. They catch their fish, happy life. It's very clear feedback. It's very clear feedback. There's danger. You can go for it. You can't go for it. There's very clear feedback. So what can we do to fail smarter? What if we could be more open about failures? So this is the core of what we talk about at Google when we say, even when we were a small company, we said, we want to talk about failure because it's important to fail. It's important that when we have ideas, we try something out. Of course, we're not going to be perfect at it. We need to give it a try. So out of 10 ideas at Google, 9 will fail. 90% of what we do is failure. That's crazy. And it's okay. This is the scary part, I think. You can see here an overview of some of the products that over time have been launched from Google. The majority of these are failures. You might have seen some of them. Does anyone remember Google Wave? Yeah, a few hands. It was so hard to get access. People would call me and say, do you have one for me? And I'd be like, okay, failure. Relaunch things, we take them off the market. And sure, you can think, sure, it's fine, it's Google, you can afford it, whatnot. If you work in the airline industry, maybe failure is not the same, right? Like, sure, one airplane, 9 will come down, 1 will stay up. No. And I'm very aware it's not the same environment everywhere, but there are areas where you can fail, where you have enough safety in every job, where you have enough safety to take risks. When we think about moonshots, and this is part of Google X, Astra Teller was saying moonshots don't begin with brainstorming a lot of the clever answers. They start with the hard work of finding the right questions. Or maybe some of you know the quote from Albert Einstein, where he was saying, if you have an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes finding the answer or finding a solution. 55 minutes, the majority would be spent thinking about the problem. And this actually reminded me of when Oliver was standing up here and we heard the story of Bottle Top, because this is actually the image of what we heard about earlier. If you take a huge challenge, huge, which is what we don't do, right? Because we have objectives and think about your career and everything, so that's the first step of what we don't do. But if we took a big challenge, a really big challenge, and we applied radical solutions, and then we use breakthrough technology, you end up with that intersection in the middle, and that's where the magic happens. This is where you change the world. This is where you do things that are very different, that make you stand out. And yes, you will fail. We will all fail, and that's okay. It's okay to say, I tried something and I failed. And this is why we have something that we call 10x. We say when we have an idea and we want to do something, what if it could be 10 times more? What if it could be 10 times bigger, 10 times more people that it reaches? What if it could be 10 times faster? And if you forget everything that I've said here today, I would love for you to try something out. Next time you have an idea, think 10x. What if it was 10 times bigger? What if it was reaching 10 times more people? What if my job affected 10 times more people? What if my team were 10 times bigger? Try to apply a 10x thinking and see how people react to it. If you want to increase the turnover and your goal is to do 10% more than last year in revenue, for example, sure, you'll try to hit 10% more. What if you had to do 10 times more? Your reaction would be like, no way, it's not possible, can't do it, nope. You have a physical reaction, you have your brain starts, you start sweating, your brain starts thinking about all kinds of situations. You're like, nope, I'm out of here, too big a risk. 10 times more revenue, no way. No way, it's impossible. But you should try this out. Tell someone, can you do 10 times more? If you have someone who reports to you and comes to you with an idea and you ask them, do 10 times more next quarter. And just watch their face. Like psychologically, just watch their face. They'll go like, you're kidding me. You're not serious. Like, You'll see like, what? And just watch and observe. It's incredible what's going to happen. Don't change your mind. Don't say, it's fine, just do 10%. No, just say it and say, come back with some ideas. Send them away. And you know what's going to happen? They will go and they'll think about it. And they'll come back saying, it's really, like 10 times more, it's really impossible, but I was thinking, and if we change this and if we did that, maybe we could do 5 times more. And you'd be like, what, really? Why haven't we done this before? Right? You're encouraging people to start thinking differently. You're broadening their spectrum. You're opening their eyes, and you're encouraging them to think. This is the root of innovation. It's feeling safe, not feeling afraid. It's feeling like, I can do something, I can change something. And people have lots of ideas. Most of the time, they just keep them to themselves. One other thing that's very important when you think about innovation is collaboration. If one person is in a bubble and comes up with an idea, chances of failure are way higher. Bringing people together to collaborate, to share ideas, to talk about why could this work, why couldn't this work? Let's think through this. What if, going back, and you bring in a mix of people with different backgrounds, different cultures. If you bring in diversity, different opinions, you have a person who's saying, this is never going to work. Make sure you have these people in the room. You as a leader should always have people in the room who disagree with you. It's the best way of innovating, because if you can prove them, you probably have the right answer. So don't avoid critical thinking. Embrace it. Embrace the diversity, the collaboration with different opinions. This will create psychological safety. Lutz was mentioning this earlier in his presentation. The psychological safety that makes you feel it's okay to have a different opinion. It's fine to disagree with my boss's opinion. It's okay to say something else because I'm safe here. And we're working on the best idea, and it's my job to be the critical thinker so that we can find the best solution. Rather than we're all saying, yep, it's great. And a year down the line, we're like, I knew it. I mean, I didn't tell you because I'm not allowed, because, I would have not gotten my promotion, but I knew it. That's not how you'll innovate. That's not how it will work. So we did some studies at Google, and we've identified the teams who feel psychologically safe. And we measure this through an annual survey. They perform 17% more than teams that don't feel psychologically safe. So creating the psychological safety will bring innovation. It will bring higher revenues on a sales team. It will bring faster technological development on an engineering team, feeling safe. And once you do feel safe, going back to the topic of sharing, don't keep it to yourself. And especially when it comes to failure. We spend 25% of our day searching for information. And sure, digital ways of finding information have helped us advance, but 50% of the time, we search through multiple sources for the same information. Now, if you're imagining not non-digital, if you're thinking about binders, imagine you have to look for one piece of paper and you're going through 5 different binders to find the one sheet of paper. You're spending so much time. Is there anyone in finance or anyone who's responsible for salaries? No? Okay, let's imagine you were responsible for salaries and you think that 50% people are looking through multiple sources to find information. They're wasting your money, right? Look, we need to optimize this. And 38% of this time, they don't find the information and they recreate it. Now think about that from a financial perspective. And even if they recreate it, they still don't share. So if we fail, going back to the penguin example, the penguin would surface and be like, I'm good, come jump in the water. Meanwhile, the seal's chewing your feet, right? You're like, no, it's all good. And we can't do that. We can't. We need to share failures. We need to share where things work and where things don't work. We need to collaborate. We want to make sure that we fail fast. So try something, fail fast. Don't waste time failing. Figure it out quickly. Learn from it. Share your learnings. Do debriefs. Do postmortems. Do whatever it is that you use. Share it. Tell other people how it worked. And then move on, repeat it, and do better. We have something called TGIF that we run every week at Google. Has any one of you heard about TGIF? Some people? Thank God it's Friday. We, in a humble way, I always refer to thank God it's Friday. At Google, occasionally we refer to thank Google it's Friday. It's an end-of-week celebration and announcements of what we work on. And we share failures openly. We share what we are doing, how we're doing. Are we successful in it? Are we not? What's working, what's not working? And there are microphones. So imagine this room 10 times bigger, with microphones everywhere. And people can walk up to the microphone and just ask questions. And we either have Sundar, our CEO, on the stage, we have Larry or Sergey, the founders of Google, someone from the management group. They can ask any kind of question. A couple of years ago, when we're launching our Pixel phone, there was also, going back to politics, an election day, and a certain president had been elected. And we had our TGIF, and we had people on the stage talking about, oh my God, Pixel is coming out, we're so excited, woohoo. All the questions from Googlers, from our employees, were about the election. And that's when our company knew, we don't want to talk about a Pixel launch. We actually want to talk about how we feel. And this gives you the pulse of the company. At the end of the day, it's always about people. People will fail and continue to fail, but it's also people who build innovation. Sundar, our CEO, said, it's always good to work with people who make you feel insecure about yourself. That way, you will constantly keep pushing your limits. Please do. Thank you so much.